All right, get ready for another true half-throttle story. Someone asked me a while ago if I've ever been in a serious accident on my motorcycle. And I somehow, miraculously, luckily, I haven't. Um, the most serious accident I've ever been in was because I was being dumb. I was in Arizona and I had just visited the Baringer crater. And I made a video about it. It's kind of funny, I guess. You can check it out. I'll post an annotation. You can check that out. And then while I was there, they had this satellite photograph of the crater, and I noticed that there was this long, straight dirt road that went south, and I needed to go south. So I asked some people working there. I said, "Hey, what do you know about this road? Where does it go? If I jump on this road, will it? I mean, I got to end up in Phoenix. I don't really care how long it takes me to get there." And a couple different people told me, whatever you do, don't take that road. It's horrible. It's nasty. It's so dangerous, and you need four-wheel drive, and you need extra tires, and all this, on and on and on. So I, of course, took the road. I was like, dude, I can see it in the picture. It's a flat, straight road. So I'm driving along this road, and it's like the nicest dirt road that I've ever been on. I don't know what these people were talking about, why they were so afraid of it. But I'm cruising along, and I'm getting like really comfortable, like too comfortable. And I'm going too fast, and I'm just like, I'm driving like I'm on a freeway, but I was on a dirt road, and I came around this corner, and there was like it wasn't a ditch really, it was just, the road kind of went down a little bit, and it spooked me, and it wasn't going to crash me. Had I just continued on that same speed, I would have been fine. But I panicked a little bit, and I wanted to slow down before I hit it so it wouldn't be such a big bump. And I just gave that front brake the teeniest of tiniest taps. And the front wheel instantly locked up, and my handlebars jacked hard to the left, and I was down before I could even, before I even realized what was happening. I was on the ground, and the bike landed. I was on the GS, and the bike landed and did like a 180-degree turn and ended up facing the opposite way, and my luggage had been like ripped off the side, and I laid on the ground just screaming. But I was by myself, and I was in the middle of nowhere, and after I screamed for a while, I realized no one was coming. No one could hear me. I had landed basically flat on my ass, going about 45, 50 miles an hour. And I was hurt bad. I mean, I could feel pain where I landed for months after that happened. But for the next few days, I could hardly walk. And so the challenge was, I was in the middle of nowhere in the Arizona desert. Nobody knew where I was. No cell phone service. And I had to figure out, it was like, I had no help. Nobody was coming to save me. So I looked at the bike, and it was leaking oil out of the left cylinder head. I had cracked the cylinder head. BMW, the GS has that boxer engine that sticks out a mile on each side and very vulnerable. So there was a small leak in the left cylinder head, and when I saw that, I was just like, oh, I'm done. I can't ride. But I managed to get the bike up on its wheels. It was very painful and very difficult. I was in a lot of pain, but I got it up on its wheels, and then I got it up on its center stand. That's how you have to check the oil. You get the bike on its center stand, and then you look in the little window to make sure it has enough oil, and it did. So I started riding, and I would stop every so often, and getting on and off the bike, like swinging my leg up and over the seat, was very painful, because it's like I had this huge impact on my leg. So I'd get off the bike, I'd put it on its center stand, and I'd check the oil, and I did that, very frequently at first, every mile or so, and then I realized, okay, it's holding oil, it's doing okay. And I kept looking at my boot. I would look down, and because the boxer engine, it goes out over your feet. And so I'd look at my boot, and I would just make sure it wasn't leaking too much oil, you know, a slow leak of oil. I guess I figured I could live with. And eventually I found a ranger station, and I walked in, and they could tell that I was messed up, and I bummed a can of oil off them. I tried to pay them for it, but I bummed a can of oil off them, and I rode from when I went down and cracked that cylinder head. I rode, it's got to be 150 miles after the accident to and a lot of that was on dirt roads, and then on smaller highway roads all the way to Phoenix, because there's a BMW dealership in Phoenix, and that was the only place I knew that they could fix it. So I had to make it there, and the mechanics there were of course horrified. What kind of oil did you put in it? You know, I told them I bummed a can of oil off of these guys. They were all, you can't put that kind of oil in here, this is a high performance engine. I was like, dude, I put whatever I could get my hands on when I was riding across Central America. Anytime it was low, I would just be like, that one, it looks pretty. And it's still going just fine. But yeah, that was my biggest, most serious accident. I was limping for days afterwards. I mean, I could hardly walk for days. And luckily I didn't break anything. And now I carry one of those spot tracking devices around. Very handy. Cell phone or no cell phone, you can get a hold of somebody that can get you some help. It's very much worth the peace of mind that the cost is very much worth the peace of mind that it brings. I'll have to make a review video about that spot GPS tracking dealing. But yeah, wasn't too bad, but that was my most serious accident. One of my biggest fears are deer. Living in Utah, we live near the mountains, and there are a lot of deer on the road. And they scare me more than cars because they're invisible when it's dark. A car you can see for miles away. It's got its lights on and you can see it coming. Those deer, though, they could just appear. They could just materialize out of nowhere. So deer were always one of the biggest fears that I had. And I guess that's my story. It's a half-throttle true story.